Welcome back, everybody. So we wanted to talk a bit about time management. I think this is something you can revisit, every day almost. Yeah. There's enough concepts here. And one of the things that we tried to do was look at all the different, I love your gratitude and knowledge, because it's like, I've taught some courses before on time management. We've all heard different things. I've actually hired coaches from David Allen's company on getting things done. And that was like $600 a month, but focused only on task and time management. And it was unbelievable. And the cool thing about that is that they say, you only need to meet with us probably for 3 to 4 months, and then you're done. And then you got the systems and you can move on. I love coaching that has an endpoint.
Yes.
So I thought that was really good. But we also went on, Googled, searched, said, what is everybody talking about? What seems to rise to the top? What worked well for us? And then move forward. So we've come up with 11 time management tips to get stuff done and still have a life. So Addie, let's show the screen here and kick us off. We got beautiful PowerPoint to help you guys stay on this. And then when you guys rewatch this segment, when we post it up, you guys can see it. And there's 3 concepts we're going to go through. And that is that we first want you to create more time for yourself. The second one is we want you to stay focused on what's important. And the third one is setting yourself up for consistent implementation. So Kevin, kick us off. Create more time for yourself.
So the first one is obviously say no to everything that is not in line with your life and business goals. So it's super important to just, maintain focus and staying in line, right? So don't let those things that don't matter deviate from your goals.
Well, and I think, I love that. And I think that it's a big myth where people think that time management and productivity is about getting more done. And if you actually think about it a bit differently, where you say it's about focusing and doing the right things. So many people get on like, oh, they coach their parents or they coach their kids' team, and they're a chair of the student council or the parent council, and then they do this, they volunteer here, and they do this, and they wonder why they have no time. But it's like, what's super important in your life? And maybe you say, I really want to go big on spending time with my kids, or I really want to go big on coaching, which means I got to give up my seat on the parent, the parent council or whatever it happens to be. I think that's absolutely huge. All right. Number 2 is delegate anything that you can. And this is, really for, some experienced realtors. For new realtors, this matters as well. But if your days are full, and I say 8 to 10 hours, depending on how much you give yourself to work, then if your day is actually full, i.e., you're doing you're doing your administration side of things, you are, doing your marketing and stuff like that, then if you still have time left over at the end of the day because you don't have a lot of business going on right now, you don't need to delegate. You can do it all. But as soon as you find that the paperwork is getting too much, keeping on track with your phone calls and your follow-ups is getting too much, then what you need to do is you need to start delegating off lower value tasks. And your time is spent on building the relationships and getting face-to-face with clients. And that's worth it. But you only do that when your days are full. If your days aren't full, people used to always say, well, I don't do, $14 an hour tasks like cut my lawn because my time is worth more than that. Well, on a Sunday morning when I'm at home and, my kids are watching cartoons, whatever, you can cut the grass because no one's paying you, 24 hours a day to do stuff. So that's that. But definitely as far as work goes, delegate your time out to spend more time on with higher value tasks. Cool. Kevin, number 3.
Do one thing at a time and do not multitask. I'm horrible at that. That's one thing I need to get better at is don't try to multitask, because it turns out you get nothing done when you try to multitask. You just have a whole bunch of unfinished projects.
So true.
So finish one thing and then move on to the next.
We didn't talk about that at all before this, and that is exactly what happens. That's exactly what happened. And I know mothers out there, you guys are fantastic at multitasking, or people think, oh, I can do this. Got my hand in so many pies, but you end up doing a whole bunch of stuff very averagely.
Yeah.
And it's nice to just get it done and put complete focus on a topic.
Yeah.
And then move forward on it.
Yeah. And I'm sure my wife would be like, finish off one thing at a time so we don't have a whole bunch of unfinished projects at all.
Yeah, that's right. And you can have multiple things on the go, but you're just taking time. You're saying this 3 hours I'm dedicating solely to this. And then you need to switch and say, okay, for the next hour, I'm going to dedicate solely to this. and that's okay. But you are dedicating that time solely. You're not jumping back and forth between updating your Facebook, plus this, plus that. Yeah. All right. Number 4, mitigate time sucks. This is all about creating more time for yourself. How much time are you spending mindlessly scrolling Instagram, social media, anything else like that? Your emails, sometimes people wait and just refresh and wait for the next email to come in. Meetings that are unimportant, different apps, TV, etc. I'm not saying don't watch TV. I'm saying just be very deliberate about it when you do it. But there's so many time sucks out there. And if you were to say no and just renegotiate your priorities with stuff that's not in line with your life or with your priorities, i.e. you start giving up certain things, and you might even start saying no to some invites, some stuff that you committed to weekly or things like that. You might start giving them up in order to focus on other things. Committees, stuff like that. Say no to those things. In addition to saying no to the time sucks, making apps more difficult to access, deleting social media or moving it out of certain ways, or dedicating only certain times of the day to use them, you're going to find you have more than enough time, to get a lot more things done. Cool. Next thing, Kevin, staying focused on what's important.
Well, the main thing is don't try to keep everything in your head and make lists or use your calendar to schedule stuff. That way at least you can check off your to-do list and you know what you still need to do. Kind of move on there.
Let me ask you this. How you use your calendar? Do you schedule stuff in as all-day appointments, or do you put a time block in for the day in order to do those items?
So there are certain tasks that if they're not time sensitive, I will put them as all day tasks and just make that as my permanent to-do list. And then for more time sensitive stuff, I'll actually schedule a time block at some point in the day to do it.
And you're just using that through Google Calendar?
Just through Google Calendar.
You and I do it exactly the same way. That is awesome. Perfect. Love that. Your brain is fallible. Do not rely on it. If someone asks you to do something, get it out of your head right away. And get it scheduled in even about when exactly you're going to do it. Number 6, starting in your day with reviewing priorities. One of the things that I actually keep is a list. I call it my morning review, my morning reading. And it's literally goes through all of sort of my life values, my personal mission statement that I have for my life, some key goals that I have. And I read that first, and then I don't always read it at the end of the day, but you have priorities throughout the day, but you also have life priorities. And you just want to read those and you want to ask yourself, what am I doing today or tomorrow even that I can make another step forward on my priorities? Because you'll find that something ebbs and flows. Maybe your marketing isn't quite what you wanted it. Maybe you're trying to do some more financial tracking in your business. Maybe something operationally. Some of your service systems are off the mark. And that's a good time to do it. But if you start your day with that, you never get too far off the mark. You don't wake up a year later and figure out, oh my gosh, I was supposed to create this website for my marketing and it never happened, because you're checking in every single day. Number 7.
Schedule the hardest tasks when you have the most resistance, or to when you have it. Basically, I'm a morning person.
Yes.
So I try to do everything in the morning that's tough because I'm still awake and doing it. So I try to do that, right?
So when you have the energy.
Exactly, right? So get it over with.
Yeah, if you're cleaning your house in the morning when you have the most energy, you're missing it.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be doing like the phone calls, the follow-ups, if it's paperwork or whatever it is. But the task, and you know it, it's like the task that you just feel like, oh, I got to write those articles for my blog or whatever it is. You just have the most resistance to. And that made me follow-up calls with clients. Yeah. Do it when you have the most energy. Asking yourself to do it after, the kids go to bed or something like that is just a disaster.
Yeah.
So unless you're an evening person, in which case some of the stuff you can schedule then.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you when. We're just saying when you have the most energy. We talked about this. This is so important. And Kevin, you even talked about this in our previous segment. You got to decide what's most important in your life and time block those. The generating new business every single day. Time block that. I don't care when you time block in your day. If you're going to generate business, you need to time block when people are awake. So you can't say, oh, I do that between 11 and 1 a.m. That doesn't work. However, you can also time block in family time, relationship time, whatever that is, fitness, exercise. What are the most important things in your life? Get those time blocked in. And then what's the most important things in your business? and get those activities time blocked in. One big thing with time blocking that I just want to give you a little tip on, leave lots of white space in your calendar. One thing that happens for sure is that you don't know what's going to happen throughout the day. That lawyer calls you and there's an issue with a deal, or they need to modify something, or a client calls you because there's a property they want to get in and see right away, or your kids call you, or the school calls you to pick up your kid from school because they're sick. So if you leave some gaps in your calendar that you can move stuff around, it helps you, get the stuff done. Otherwise, if you schedule yourself back to back, you really set yourself up for failure, because one thing goes off the rails and you'll start to ignore your time blocking completely. So like it's someone's funeral or a wedding that you've been invited to, you gotta attend your time blocked appointments. Never compromise. And then debrief and adjust on what got in the way of that time blocking so that you can adapt it the next day to correct it, or the next week, as the case may be. Cool. All right, let's talk about setting yourself up. Set yourself up for consistent implementation. Number 9.
Splitting large tasks into pieces to beat the procrastination. Good example is my own website.
Yeah.
I sat on it for a super long time because it was such a large task, until I decided just to break it up, do a couple pages a day and then just finish off a couple pages and kind of move on. And then before you know it, it was all done.
I love it. I love it. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Exactly.
Love it. Number 10, set shorter deadlines for yourself. There's something called Parkinson's rule. And Parkinson's rule means that a task will consume the resources that we give it. And in this case, we're talking about time. So if you say, oh, I want to have my, a new marketing plan done by the end of December, well, guess when that marketing plan will be done? The end of December. But if you said, I want to have a new marketing plan done by 1 p.m. today, guess what? You will have a new marketing plan by 1 p.m. today. It's literally that easy, because you can expand a task to fill the time or contract it to fill the time. And do this with meetings as well. It's like, if you're going to have a meeting with somebody to talk about something, this is more like corporate America stuff, but realtors is very true as well. If you think of a meeting as an hour, shift that. Say, hey, let's jump on a call. I want to book 15 minutes in my calendar, and you let the other person know. And it's amazing what you'll cover in 15 minutes, because now the small talk lasts 2 minutes as opposed to 20 minutes to start. So set shorter deadlines. It's a trick to get around Parkinson's law. And the last one, Kevin.
Don't slip on the exercise and nutrition. Without the energy, we won't be able to do anything. So get as much sleep as possible, especially for those with young children.
Yes.
Take advantage of those naps when you can.
I love it. I love it. And even yourselves, take naps if you guys can get them in. Energy management is almost more important than time management overall, because we find that if you always have the energy to do stuff, you procrastinate less, you get it done, you feel good. So exercise, nutrition, those things are absolutely there. That is the end of that. Those are your 11 time management tips, done in a timely manner.
Yes.
I appreciate that. No. So, Kevin, thank you so much for helping us out with that.
Thank you.
And that is the end of our meeting today. We got a fun video to take you guys out. But before we do that, Kevin, I just wanted to officially, publicly say welcome to the team. We're very grateful, and this would have been my gratitude, but we hadn't talked about it yet. Grateful that you accepted our offer to come on and join us. We are absolutely thrilled to have you on. Your experience, your consistency, everything you've done for us has been super valuable. It's gone totally noticed, and we're super happy to bring you onto the team with us. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very, very excited to, new challenge. Nervous at the same time, but very excited and looking forward to it. Awesome. Well, we have a very fun video to take you guys out. And if you've been on, this was actually done a couple of years ago. So believe it or not, this was not done during COVID. But you guys are about to, if you've ever been on a Zoom meeting, this is going to hit home, have a lot of fun. It's what a Zoom meeting is like if it was like what a Zoom meeting would be like if it was real life. That's it. We'll see you guys next week.